Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another video talking about X-Men Days of Future Past, the after the credits scene from the Wolverine, doing some speculation and an addendum to my last video, which is another possible scenario. Spoiler warning. Okay, so you've been warned about the spoilers if you have not seen the post-credits scene from the Wolverine, or you don't really want to talk about, do some predictions on X-Men Days of Future Past, you may not want to watch the video. So basically, I did a video the other day doing my thoughts on the after the credits scene from the Wolverine, doing some speculation and talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, my idea of it was what I think they were doing was that they were using Professor X as an astral projection from the astral plane to appear to Wolverine and do his duty again. However, people talking in the comments, news online, just doing some more investigation on the topic, had a great comment from YouTube username Extraordinary, who said basically he thinks that actually, instead of an astral projection, Professor X would have been plucked out from the time stream before the events of X3 by someone like Bishop, let's say Bishop, maybe Forge, because I don't believe they've used Forge yet in the X-Men Fox cinematic universe. So Forge is available, Bishop's available, they could use them, and they could essentially implement the one man's worth storyline from the X-Men comic books, which is basically, without Professor X, if Professor X was to die or something happened to him in the main time stream, essentially mutant kind would fail. Mutant kind would lose the battle to the Sentinels and to humankind. One man's worth. So Professor X essentially is that key leader, key person that would make the difference. If he survived or he was to die, mutant kind would then survive or die. So his idea, Extraordinary's comment, what he's talking about, and not only just him, a lot of people are as well. And also, of course, it's called Days of Future Past, so the storyline itself is related to that. So here's the thing, and this is the prediction or the thoughts a lot of people are talking about and thinking about with Days of Future Past. What a lot of people are thinking is that basically, because Bryan Singer, well not just because, but it works out too nicely, but here's the thought behind what people are thinking is going to happen, and I think this is very, very likely as well, as a scenario for Days of Future Past, is that because Bryan Singer, the director for Days of Future Past, X1, X2, did not direct X3, that was Brett Ratner, if you guys remember, he may want to undo some of the things that were done in X3. When you have time travel included in Bishop and Forge, you can do these types of things. You could undo them. So could it be possible then that he could sort of erase X3 and pretend like it never happened, and that was sort of like the reality, but now because Bishop is going to travel through time, come back, one man's worth, and save Professor X before the events of X3 where Jean blows him into smithereens, before all that occurs, and pluck him out of that time stream to essentially gather a team together and save him, to change the events of that reality so that he survives. And instead of basically Magneto losing his powers, all these other events that would happen afterwards in the oncoming battle, if they were to change all of that, Bryan Singer could effectively undo X3. He could undo the events of the end of it and really create a new reality for the cinematic universe. So that makes perfect sense too, and also at the end of the Wolverine, the post-credit scene, when we see Professor X roll up to Wolverine with Magneto and all that, Magneto still has his full powers, as you can clearly see. Wolverine, of course, has lost his adamantium, but then you have Professor X who's there as well, so how is it possible that he's there? Well, the astral projection does still make sense. Or you could go with the time plucking, or the being plucked out of the time stream to get Wolverine later on and have him included, and then go back and stop Trask before he is able to create the Sentinels, or basically just eliminate mutant kind. Because if you're going to get somebody from the X-Men universe to mastermind that whole thing, and you're Bishop, you're not really that intelligent yourself, you're more like a soldier, then Professor X is your go-to guy. Get him, have him form a team, including Magneto, because Magneto obviously cares about mutant kind as well, even though he's not really a good guy, he would still fight alongside his brethren, as we've seen him do in the past against humankind. So that's really interesting too as well, and that would make a lot of sense for where Bryan Singer would want to go. He would want to undo the events of X3 because number one, he didn't do it himself; it was Brett Ratner. So he would probably want to undo that. Control U, undo, redo again, and just make it completely new. So it's definitely good stuff and a good idea, and I think that's probably where they're actually going to go. I think it fits better with the characters and also the director, because he didn't do X3, than maybe an astral projection staying inside the same time stream. Because we do know, of course, there's going to be time travel of some kind in Days of Future Past. So it makes sense to me that they would go that route, and we'll probably be seeing some different realities and different time shifts and things like that as a result of Bishop time traveling, maybe getting Wolverine to help him with it, getting Professor X, and forming a new team to stop Trask before he becomes too powerful and creates all the Sentinels that basically are going to wipe out the mutants. So very interesting stuff. Heavily interesting topic. Doing some predictions on Days of Future Past. Very excited for the movie. Couldn't really be more excited for this one because I love the X-Men franchise. I've loved all the movies. Yes, even X3. I love X3. There are some good things about X3 too. It's not all bad. Yes, they killed off too many characters. I agree with you there. But they did add on a lot of mutants that we were wanting to see in the X-Men cinematic universe that it seemed like Bryan Singer was never going to do. It seemed like he was never going to bring in Juggernaut, any of these other characters, Multiple Man, Angel, all these other characters that we got to see was really, really cool to see. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Vinny Jones is the Juggernaut. Awesome. I love that as Juggernaut. So, very cool to see those characters, and hopefully in Days of Future Past we'll just get even more. We'll get the Sentinels, of course. We'll get Trask. We'll get the time travel stuff going. Oh, all kinds of X-Men goodness. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Okay, so those are the thoughts. That's the second possible theory, and I think it probably fits better than the first one. So had to do a video on, had to do an addendum, and say, hey, yeah, you know what? That could be where they're going. That could be the storyline. Because that's also from the comics, too. It just depends which direction they really want to go. There's lots of different ways with X-Men that you could adjust and undo, effectively rewrite or cross it out and start over again. And then possibly, if they were to do that, and Patrick Stewart wants to do another one, they could effectively do even another X-Men movie after that, or a couple. I guess we'll see what happens. So instead of just a trilogy, we could be getting, if you don't count the Wolverine and you don't count First Class, we could be getting, 4, 5, 6 maybe straight X-Men movies in, like straight up X-Men movies, not counting the others and the prequel and the Wolverine stuff. So anyway, very excited for Days of Future Past. There is the Trask site up, and there's the Trask viral video, which is very cool. Apparently, Peter Dinklage looks like he's going to be a part of Trask Industries. I think. Did I read that wrong? I think I did see that. And we'll also see if Cyclops is going to be returning. There's rumors. We don't know for sure. There was a picture with the actor who plays Beast standing next to Wolverine. I thought it was Cyclops at first, and then I looked at it closer and I'm like, oh, no, that's the guy who plays Beast from First Class. So we'll see what happens. Lots of unknowns, lots of topic for discussion. Let's talk about it. Please try not to argue. Well, you can argue, but be respectful in your arguments and what you think is going to happen. And don't call people names and retarded and stuff. Some of the comments, like, Jesus, man, we're talking about a movie here. People take it so personally. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough, so I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. Time travel, Professor X being plucked from the time stream. Sounds like it could be. See you for the next one, guys.